Karla, I have to ask, in the boudoir business, so we haven't talked to a boudoir photographer since COVID. So I just want to kind of know. We'll start off kind of boring and sad, but did it affect your business at all last year? Like, what was that like? Did you have to wear a mask and enhance your cleaning at your studio? Like, what was that all like, if anything?
Um, it did affect my business and that I just personally work out of my home. I didn't have like a separate studio to where I think I had different regulations and things like that. So I
Mm,
left it up to my clients whether or not they wanted to come to the studio or not. And I left it up to them also whether or not I wore a mask.
okay, cool.
Um, and everybody was different. Sometimes I did, sometimes I didn't. I wasn't butthurt over having to wear one because I first and foremost want my clients to feel comfortable and confident coming over no matter what. As for the
Yeah.
cleaning, I always cleaned with Lysol and all of the products that
Mm,
everybody bought. So that was
yeah.
annoying to me because I felt like I had to, I was like, no, 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 I use this on a daily basis to clean and sanitize my home. And I clean and sanitize my home as though it was like a doctor's office. So every time
Yeah.
somebody leaves, I washed and cleaned all of the lingerie and all of my linens with the Lysol
Mm,
detergent. It was just my favorite one to use and it smelled really good. So that was flying off the
mm.
shelves during COVID. And I was like, ugh. And then same with the Lysol spray, things that I couldn't throw into the wash. I used Lysol. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was really hard trying to go on the hunt for that. So um, bookings, yes, went down a little bit, some rescheduled,
Sure.
but I mean, it wasn't terrible. It was just
Okay.
different. And I
Yeah.
actually like it because it gave me more time in my personal life to figure things out because I didn't have like a
Mm,
good workflow going. And it
yeah.
helped me focus on those clients that did come in and make my customer service like a little bit better. Because sometimes when I get a lot of clients and overwhelmed, sometimes I feel like I slack on things. So it really helps me to like
Mm.
step back and like take a chill pill because I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, no, totally. That's a good point too. I didn't even think about, but like, yeah, when we get busy, like our customer service can go down. I've like over the last few years, I've automated a bunch of stuff
Mm-hmm.
using like a CRM, but even then, it's like it'll have a bunch of tasks for you to do each day that I set up. Right? Like it's my fault that they're in there. But if I forget to go check it, it'll be like a few weeks, and I'll be like, oh, I need to send that email, this email, and oh, I need to do this. Which luckily nothing's caught on fire, but it's hard when things get busy. So that's really cool that you got to like recalibrate a little bit. But yeah, that makes sense. Like the boudoir people. Oh, we had Tayana Nelson. She loves
Ah,
you. Good bodies.
I
Yeah,
love her. Yes.
yeah. She loves you a lot. So I was like, oh yeah, yeah. The Masons are good people,
Yeah.
totally. But yeah, so that's really cool. For anybody watching, we are not related,
No.
other than just being sexy, beautiful, badass mother
Duh.
truckers, obviously. But yeah, it's been a while since you've been on. So for those who don't know, like, give me a little bit of the Karla Mason rundown. Like, tell us, about you, how you got your start, and then I feel like you just found your groove and you're just murdering it, just killing it. But
Oh,
like,
thanks.
what do you do now? So give us a little Karla background.
Okay, my name is Karla of Karla Mason Photography. I started Boudoir specifically back in 2016. I was shooting a
Wow.
little bit of everything, as most people do. Got started with just buying a DSLR and trying to take nice photos of my kids and kind of turned it into something more.
Mm,
But once I got into Boudoir, that's where I specifically found what I love to do, and then created a business plan. I really didn't have a business plan before. I was just kind of willy nillying it. So I focused mainly on boudoir and only boudoir once I shot my first session. So I've been doing that specifically since 2016. And it's kind of grown into educating other photographers and just creating a space out of my home. Again, I don't have a separate studio because
right.
I'm a mom first. I have two kids, and I never wanted to have to like commute or drive or be somewhere else other than home because I wanted to be home
Yeah.
first. And I've just really made my business about what is best for me and my family. And then my clients and all of that come separate, like second.
Hmm. That's awesome. And then
Mhm.
what's your workflow like now, workload like right now? It seems to me like I feel like you take 2 to 3 sessions a week that are 3-4 hours. You
Yeah.
always include makeup. Like it's really systemized.
Yes.
And it looks like you do that every freaking week. So that's like 150 people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. And that's the only way I meet people, honestly. But so it's kind of like a win-win. When I was a stay-at-home mom and like hanging out with my kids and stuff, I met other people through like mom groups and wives groups and things like that. But since my kids are in school now and a little bit older, it's like up to me to like make my own friends. And so that's how I make my friends, like honestly, is through my boudoir sessions, and how I get like adult interaction that isn't just like the grocery store where we all ignore each other. So I want to do 3 a week, but I do 4, sometimes 5. Like this week I have 5, only because I made a mistake and I have to like redo something, which I make mistakes all the time. And everyone's like, how do you do it? And I don't know. Like I just, figure it out as I go. And I do make mistakes all the time. So it's totally fine. But I do about 4 sessions a week is a full week for me. I work Monday through Fridays. My sessions start at 10 a.m. with hair and makeup, and hair and makeup takes about an hour to hour and a half. And then the shoot time with me is about an hour to hour and a half as well. So I usually say 2 at the latest, because depending on the client, how long it takes for them to find lingerie and try things on, and how well we work together posing wise. Like today's session was a couple session. So that one's a little bit longer for me. Because I'm working with 2 people versus 1. And then what I do is I try and get individual photos of the women, as well as some of the couples photos. So today ended around 2:00.
Okay. Yeah. I totally forgot about that. But for people like for me as a very, elementary boudoir photographer, I've probably done like 7 sessions, right? Total, nothing crazy, it feels kind of makeshift, right? So my systemized thing would be my weddings, right? Like I could just show up.
Yes.
I have the system down. I know the timeline. I know all the vendors, all this stuff. But boudoir for me is always new. And I'm like, okay, how do we do this again? How do I make this person look good? Everybody's different, right? All that stuff. But I didn't even think about, at least for me by that stage, they've already picked out their outfits and stuff like that. They're pretty sure they know what they're going to go with. They might ask me for advice, or their friend. I usually have a friend come and hang out when we shoot. They might ask us for advice, but they have a general idea. But I didn't realize too. This is something you and I feel like Tay got this from you, but maybe I'm lying. I don't know. It's it adds to the system, which I love. Like you can just on autopilot do this. You have like a wardrobe for ladies, which I didn't even think about that as part of the time, because people are like, oh, if makeup ends at 11. And your session is an hour, why does it end at 2? And you're like, oh, we got to get warmed up. We got to find the right clothing, all that kind of stuff. So I didn't even think about that. But that's so cool. Like I heard about like maternity photographers who like have maternity gowns.
Yes.
Like, nobody wants to buy this stuff, right? Like that'd be stupid.
Exactly. Well, maternity and with, lingerie too. A lot of people don't own or wear lingerie. They're not lingerie people, but they want this experience. So why would I make them go out and spend money on something they may not wear again? Or a lot of these women are moms who either just had babies or just have new bodies that they're not used to. And it's frustrating enough to try and find a really cute bra and underwear set. Like if you're mix and match on the top, like different sizes. And then with COVID and everything, not being able to try things on in the store. Ordering and returning and all of that frustration. And a lot of times I feel like when people try things on with just themselves in the mirror, they'll talk them out of something where I'm like, no, girl, that looks great. Like, don't worry about that little thing. Like with posing in the right angle, we can make that outfit work. It looks amazing despite whatever flaw you're looking at. And so I let them know, like, I have outfits for you. If you don't want to go out and buy anything, you don't have to. The client today, she brought all of her own stuff and wore one thing of mine because she did a great job on finding the pieces on Amazon that worked for her body type. She tried them on. So some people are prepared and some people show up like, help, like, just dress me.
Yeah.
So I can do either because I just want to I feel like with boudoir, the people's 2 most concerns are posing and what to wear. So if I can eliminate what to wear off the bat, then all I have to do is convince them that if they can like follow simple directions, I can pose them. Like they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about this even pre-COVID, but like most people, it's something I love about your work is you shoot everybody, but
Mm-hmm.
like you shoot a lot of people that have like my body type, right? Like a little bit larger, plus size, or whatever they want to say it, more to love, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like trying on clothes
It
sucks.
does.
It's the freaking
And
worst.
all
And
sizes are not the same. So you can
right,
buy like a
right.
size 10 in one store and a size 10 in the other, and it's completely different. So it can be like, take your confidence and like,
Yeah, I was gonna say exactly that. Like I've been trying on some motorcycle stuff recently for kind of a different style of riding that I don't normally do. So you need different gear, and it's it's just very obscure. So you're like, okay, yeah, I'll just order my regular pant size, and you get that, and you'll either be, you know, excited or depressed by the, you know, whatever you end up doing. And you're just like, oh, you know, and if you don't fit, then you feel like you don't fit in, right? And that's not the feelings we want anybody to have. So
yes.
I love that. Like you can, it's a one-stop shop. Like everything's set up. You know,
Yeah.
like do you book the makeup artist too, or do they pick one that they have?
I
Right.
have three makeup artists, so that makes a time on difference as well because I have three. I do artistry is a 2-person team, so one girl on hair, one girl on makeup. So
Mm,
that way, my clients get done a little bit earlier. Then I also
yeah.
have Glam by Jeet, who is here today, so she does it both, which is great. So it just
Yeah.
takes a little bit longer. And then I use Tiffany Winterton makeup, so she's
Okay.
also does hair and makeup. So I have those 3 people that I work with, and since I have those 3 and they're so well known, I let my client decide who they want to use. So I
Yeah.
say, if you have a preference on somebody, because some people are like, they follow certain makeup artists and that's who they
Yeah.
want for their session. And if I can make it work, I'll make it work.
Yeah.
If not, if they have no preference or they don't care either way, then I'll kind of divvy it up so everybody's even.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's another thing where you're like, I love this. I have this set up for you. Like you don't have to worry about any other questions, you know. And I think that's like one of the reasons too that like you can charge what you want to charge, you know, and make high value in this kind of thing, because you're not like me. You're not like, hey, you just book the hotel and I'll show up with your homie.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's a window, you know, like you're like, no, I know exactly what I'm doing for this. So that's really cool. So last time we talked was like, I feel like a long time ago. And at the time you weren't doing any education, right? Other than like maybe Instagram tips, right? You know, I think that was like the extent.
Yeah, I use my Instagram a lot, which I love, stories and teaching and sharing and making my
Yeah.
little highlight bubbles. And maybe I had this, did I have the swipe up feature then? I don't know, but that was something that I was really wanting. Congrats, by the way, on your 10K.
Yeah. Yes.
That
We made
was
it.
really like, you know, because we want to get our information to people as quickly
Yeah.
and as efficiently as we can. And I feel like the swipe up feature is so helpful for us when we're wanting to
Totally.
share, like go here, shop here, swipe up
Yeah.
to make it easier for everybody. So beyond that, and a little bit of maybe mentoring here and there from people that just asked for it. Again, it just kind of fell into my lap.
Sure.
That's kind of all I was doing, like at the time. I wasn't
Yeah.
doing anything else really.
That's awesome. Yeah. I think, so we should talk about what everybody's going to click on this video for.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, with all that, now you've recently, you know, started teaching using OnlyFans as a platform.
Mhm.
And, you know, we talked about this a little bit over the DMs, and also now hearing your story about how this is like your only adult interaction is your clients. I'm like, that's why she's so nice to me on Instagram. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm like, oh, somebody wrote me a message.
Yeah, yeah. You know, but you know, we kind of talked about this, and so tell me, without sharing too much, you know, you can do whatever you want, but like, why did you choose OnlyFans, and what did you know, why in general did you want to start pushing out more educational content there?
Beyond just the people that I was mentoring, like one-on-one or individually, I felt like there was a group of people that didn't want that individual one-on-one mentoring. They just had like
Yeah.
common questions, wanted to know little behind the scenes that I did beyond what I was showing on Instagram. Cause I do show a lot and tell a lot because I don't feel like
Yeah.
there's anything to hide. So my one-on-one mentoring is more specific to you and your brand. What do you want to price? What do you want to do specifically in your business? And I wanted something that was more generalized, but I also knew that I was going to put my time and energy into it. And so I didn't want to just make a Facebook group for it and give it away for free because I mean, we have to be smart as well when we're, putting ourselves out there with our information that we find valuable. So I was going between the Patreon and OnlyFans. And one thing about me is I am lazy in the fact that if I can't figure it out in 2.5 seconds, I'm not going to do it. I can't do it. I can't figure it out. I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't want to bother asking somebody else about it. So I had to do my own research. And for me, OnlyFans was so easy to use and to navigate and to kind of understand, whereas Patreon, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know, because I only researched for 2.5 seconds, but
live your life.
Patreon was, you can't show as much as far as like nudity and things like that. I think some things do get censored, and not that I'm doing anything beyond showing my nude work. I wanted a platform where I didn't have to be censored and worry about anything. I wanted to show my nude, not mine, but my photography nudes. And a lot of people get confused on what my OnlyFans, it's like, it's not me. Like, it's me, but it's not me. Okay. You're not going to see my butthole or anything like that. So, or my clients, but I didn't want a place where I had to be super censored. And I felt like OnlyFans gave me that platform. And what I like about it, once I kind of dove into it and really kind of figuring out what it was, if you have a Facebook group, OnlyFans is set up almost identical to be what a Facebook group looks like, only you get paid for it. And although they take more percentage than Patreon, I can't remember what the percentage for Patreon, what percentage they take of the money that you bring in. OnlyFans, they take 20% of everything that you bring in, whether you're earning tips or when people pay an entry fee, they take 20% of everything, which is fine with me. I will pay something to be able to share my information censor free. And if Facebook was really smart, if they were smarter, they could really like market to business people, like screw the ad that you're not going to show anybody. Let me pay money so that I can share content that I want to share, even if it costs me a little bit of money, like in a group setting. And that's literally what OnlyFans is. So it's so worth it to me. You can make whatever entry price you want. You can make it for free. Like I could have people come in there for free. I can show them, I can tease them with a little bit of information. And then I think what people do is, because they have DMs, they have private messages. People private message the person that has OnlyFans is like, hey, I will pay you X amount of money for you to send me something back in return. And that's how a lot of sex workers work, or people that use this in different ways in other businesses. You can tailor this to any business, but I think it has a bad rap because maybe it did start with sex workers, or it took off with sex workers or something like that. But it's not just for that. It's for anybody that wants to bring money into their business in a censor-free type of way. So I was like, ding, hi, easy to use, easy to navigate. It's not just about the money, but it gives me money so I can share my information with people that want to learn about it.
Totally. Well, and it's like the same thing for Patreon or whatever, but it's like OnlyFans. I think I looked this up after we talked, but I believe it was, competition for Patreon. Like that's all it was.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna make something like that, because there's other services for kind of like bigger, like content creator kind of people, like YouTuber kind of esque. So there's like a service called like Memberful, and then there's one other, like Sharify or something like that. And so you see these big YouTubers who are like, hey, join my exclusive club, and it's a memberful club or whatever. But then most of the lady YouTubers or models have an OnlyFans now, which has like a connotation to it. But again, it's like just creators sharing their work. And I think like I've known you since before you had Swipe Up. I think I started following you around like 8K. And so I've gotten to see a lot of your stuff just get censored anyway, right? Like it's probably hard to be a boudoir photographer on Instagram these days.
I hope y'all can hear that obnoxiously like I can.
I love it.
It's annoying. Yeah. The
so
censorship is real, and it's basically all about obviously these social media platforms are free. I have to understand that, but it is a little frustrating on what they let slide and what they don't let slide. So again, this is just a nice way for me to be able to share my information. I can share nudes. There's a lot of photographers are like, oh, I love your white sheets and how you do that. But a lot of them I find are so beautiful, but I have to censor them, or even when I censor them, they get taken down because they're implied. So again, I can share freely in my OnlyFans. So that anybody, you don't have to be a photographer, but just know when you come in there, it's photography driven about boudoir photography, how I run my business, why I do the things that I do. And it shows off my clients that allow me to share their photos. Totally. So, and it's really nice because you can go live in there. Oh, you can just create videos and drag and drop them in there, make posts, make photo galleries. Again, you can DM and private message people. So if somebody has a specific question, they can be like, hey, Karla, here's X amount of money. Or you can make maybe a pricing sheet if you do want to dive deeper into what you're just sharing on OnlyFans. I've had people say, hey, Karla, here's X amount of dollars. Can you specifically answer these questions for me? That's another way that you can make money in OnlyFans other than the entry fee is through tips. So if people find your information, your videos valuable, they can just tip you. Or they can private message you and kind of get information and swap money that way.
Totally. No, that's super cool. I mean, I think, and to correct me if I'm wrong, you run yours as just a basic subscription. Yeah. You don't do you don't charge for additional content in the sense of like, here's a new photo, it's $5 plus your subscription.
Correct. Yep. Okay. Mine is, it's $24.99 a month to join and you can cancel at any time. I do have you can set up like if you buy 6 months or more, or 3 months at a time, you get a percentage off. So if you want to have like a tiered system like that, you totally can. I promise a video or a post a week, which I obviously post more than that. I just post freely how I want to, because I'm not like a scheduled person at all. Like today, I told you I was on OnlyFans. I've probably made like 2 or 3 posts within the last couple of days, because it's just like when I think about something, if I don't write it down, I'll forget it. So whenever I think about something, I'll post it in there. But I promise about 1 post or video a week.
That's cool. And so what does that look like for you? What are you dropping in there every week? Is it all education? Is it some inspiration, still like Instagram, but just stuff you can't share maybe? You're like, hey, like if it is nude or if it's been censored before, or will you post a video that's like, hey, here's how I know a lot of your posing stuff goes into OnlyFans. So will you, push a lot of that there? Like, what's the content, feel like as far as week to week?
I post anything that I'm doing that I feel like would be helpful to somebody, I share. So how I make my prep guides, I'm like, oh, this is how I easily make my prep guide. This is how I make my slideshow. This is the software that I use. This is exactly like I screen record myself a lot when I'm doing work, of me actually doing things like I said, making slideshows, at live editing, or I'll just pre-record myself editing how I call my images, how I edit every session. I edited like a whole session one time and all I did was kind of chit chat like with myself. Sure. So you can go live and chit chat with people live, or if I have a topic that I want to talk about and not be distracted by the live feedback, I can just sit down and be like, I'm going to talk about this topic today and have them watch me edit while I talk. So it's just a way that I share everything. Basically, I go live in there and pose my clients if they're okay with it. I'm going to do a session this week of just the white sheets. Nice. I obviously asked hey, guy, getting up in there. But, so I have a client coming back. Like I told you, that I make mistakes sometimes. But I didn't have just her white sheet saved for some reason. They weren't on my memory card and I didn't realize it until she had already left. So I have a new workflow for my memory card situation, but
Not losing your age.
so I'm just having her back for the white sheets. So she's a full release. She's a full client. I'm like, oh, well, what a fun way to be able to maybe have some content for OnlyFans. Let me just set up my camera, or and it doesn't have to be fancy. You don't have to feel like you have to have this big production team. I literally just set my camera up in the corner and just let it go, and you're just like a fly on the wall. So that's basically how it is when I do my live videos. So if she allows me to and she's okay with it, I'll go live, and how I live shoot a whole workflow of just using the white sheets. I've done it like, this is my workflow in a chair. This is my workflow on a couch. This is my workflow on a bed. So every aspect of my business, I put little snippets in there in OnlyFans. So of course, I'm not just going to be like, hey, pay $24.99. And then you get in there and you're like, the fuck? Like, you know? So of course, you know, I started a list of things that I wanted to talk about in OnlyFans. And then I also got feedback from other people. I'm like, if you have a question, if you have a topic, if you want to know anything, just let me know and I'll do a post about it. I'll do a video about it. I'm not too shy to share my information. I just don't talk specifically about pricing in there again, because I feel like that's so tailored individually to everybody's business. So that's the only thing I really don't talk about in there.
Yeah, I'm like, you should talk about pricing or make that like your expensive thing.
Well, that's what I do my one-on-one with. So if they want to do a one-on-one like Zoom call with me, I have different pricing for that one-on-one mentoring. I have in person, and I also have like Zoom calls that I do.
That's awesome. Yeah, because at least for your sessions, if you don't mind me asking, like, do you still do the methodology of, you do in-person sales basically?
Yes.
Or like you do a sitting fee or like a session fee or whatever you might call it, right?
Yep.
Will you include hair and makeup and just like charge enough for that, or they have to pay them separately?
Nope. I just charge one fee and it's enough to cover my hair and makeup.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So they just pay one booking fee, and then all their prints and products are sold separately at their viewing session. So they don't have to decide on anything, because a lot of people are like, I want to do this, and they feel like they have to have a special occasion to do this. And some people do for like weddings or anniversaries. So some people are like, I'm just doing it for myself. And I'm like, well, have you thought about products or anything? They're like, I have no clue. I'm like, don't worry about it. Once you see your images, decide what photos you love, then you can decide what products are right for you. So I just make sure to have digital products, physical products that can work for anybody, because not everybody wants to like put their ass on the wall like me. Like I have wall art everywhere. You know what I mean? I understand not everybody does, but some people do, because they are doing these photos for one reason, but it may turn out to be a different type of reason. Like once they come in for their experience, they're like, oh my God, that was so much more exciting or whatever than I was thinking. Right. Now I'm proud to put myself on the wall. Whereas before it may have seemed like a foreign idea. Like who does that? Like who is so vain to put themselves on the wall? And I have girls that have collages of themselves. They're like, I don't even care. This is gorgeous.
Well, that's the goal, right? It's not even financially. Is you want them to feel like they could put their bodies up on the wall.
Well, yeah. I think there's so many instances as like women or wives or just people in general, like how many things that you've put off or not done or held yourself back from doing because of what you thought other people thought of you, or even what you thought of yourself. Yeah. So I want to take that one experience and kind of make up for that. So those moms that are like, oh, I don't know, I could, spend this money doing X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, well, how many times have you said that? How many times have you not done this for yourself because you were doing for others, or you felt guilty because you wanted to do for yourself? So it gives people a good excuse to be selfish, because I don't feel like people are selfish enough. And when people are selfish in doing for them, they get shit for it. And I'm like, middle finger, do you all the time? Because who else is your biggest cheerleader other than yourself? So if you're not feeling good about yourself and you don't have people around you that are making you feel good, at least there's Boudoir and other things out there that can give you those boosts of confidence that everybody needs. And I don't think it's bad at all to feel good about yourself. Like if you want to call it vain or conceited or whatever, call me that. because I've probably been called worse. So, I mean, I just don't care. I think a lot of people do care about what other people think. So I love getting those clients in here that are a little reserved about it. And by the end, they're like, I don't care. I don't care. And so these products and these photos are just little souvenirs from the experience that they finally gifted to themselves. So I think that's why a lot of people looking from the outside in are so confused on why somebody would do this until they do it for themselves.
I love that.
So
I didn't even think about that, but do you I heard back in the IPS like industry, a lot of people will you'll do like a reveal, right? Like a week or 2 or 3 weeks after the session, I assume. And then like do they have a limited amount of time to see those images? Like I know back in the day it was like a strategy to be like, all right, you can look at these for 7 days, let me know after, or like what's your kind of vibe there?
We look at the photos, we go through them all together, and then they make a decision right then and there. So
I love it.
Yeah, because I'm not going to set up another reveal session for you to look back over them in like 30 days. Like, who has time for that? Nobody. So we're going to sit through them together. And I'm very open. And like, if there's some photos that you don't love, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I want you leaving with the photos that you love, the photos that get that reaction from you. And then you can pick the products that you want. You do have 30 days. If you're like, I don't know exactly what I want, you do have like a 30-day grace period to decide exactly what you want. Because a lot of people will change their minds. Like, oh, I just wanted that album with 20 images. And then they're like, oh my God, well, I just picked like 57 of my favorites. And now what? So there are ways that we can kind of go through the products together, but 9.9 times out of 10, they pick their stuff right then and there. So
you just gave me like album PTSD when you tell a couple like, hey, this is usually what most people, need. And then they pick like triple the amount and then they're mad that the album's bigger. And you're like, no, it's supposed to be bigger.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's okay. That makes sense. I always love, me, I always want to know how other photographers make money. So I'm like, okay, that's really cool.
Yeah. So after their session, I just invite them back anywhere from like 4 to 7 days after their session to view their images. Oh, wow. Yeah. So it doesn't, it's not very long, I guess, but whenever our schedules can link up again and where I have time to kind of like, I used to love to like edit and call their images right afterwards, but now I need like a little bit more time, because I was jam packing my workflow a little bit much. So
sure.
I have them back like about a weekish afterwards. And then if they order digital products and pay in full, that stuff is delivered same day. Or if they get physical products, it takes about 7 to 14 business days to come in. So when I do their initial consult, if it is for a special occasion, then we can kind of figure out when you have to have your session by, when it needs to be paid off by in order to get your stuff for like your special day. So I talk about all my workflows and all of that too in OnlyFans. So everybody's, awesome. And that's why I like having the OnlyFans because, questions like that, I'm like, oh, I talk about that in my OnlyFans or where I order my products from. I talk about stuff in there and I know like clients are in there and it's not like a problem to me or anything. But, if you're thinking about doing OnlyFans or something like that, just know that it's a place where anybody can have access to your information if they pay.
Yeah.
So
that's super cool though. I mean, I think, thinking about that, even I know one of the reasons too, like the fact that you are ready in like a week to meet with them if they're available is crazy fast. Do you have an editor?
Me.
That is insane. How many images does one person get from a session? Like not deliverable like products, but like how many will be available?
I show them anywhere from 60 images to 100 images. Okay. It really just depends on the session and the person. Sometimes, usually the couples are a little bit up there with how many images they have, but usually anywhere from 60 to 80, I would say. So
that's awesome. That's super cool.
I know.
Because the idea, if you meet with them sooner, is like, it's kind of like for wedding photographers, I always tell people, like, when they're growing, I'm like, blog this wedding as soon as you can. Like, don't be bashful about it. Like, because there's an emotional response time, and the sooner you can punch it, the sooner they'll be prone to buy. On the business side of things, the sooner they're prone to share with their friends. They're excited.
Yes.
Right? You're not getting them on a random Thursday 6 months from now, and they're like, the frick is this?
Yeah, they're like, oh, I even forgot I did that.
Yeah. They're like, ugh, I hate that I did,
Yeah. Yeah, I like to keep the excitement level up. And again, I run my business how I would want to be as a client. So I would be
Mm,
excited to see my stuff right away. So I want to get
right.
them in as soon as I can in a way that works for my lifestyle, you know? Um,
Totally.
I do, if they allow me to share an image, whether it's anonymous or showing their face, I do that like right away because they're hyped from their session. They want to see a
Yeah.
little sneak peek, and I love putting a sneak peek up for them. And then what I'll do is I will edit like the night before or 2 nights before and kind of call everything, decide how many images I love, and then start editing from there. So it gives me a couple days or even a day if I'm like really pushing myself to the last minute, which I like to do. I
Yeah.
have 2 sessions to edit tonight, but anyways, we're going to talk about that.
Let's go.
Yeah, it's
That's
okay.
awesome.
I like take naps in the middle of the night and that, you know, where people usually sleep. So I'm a night person and I'm a morning person. So that's when I edit. Yeah. A lot of time
I
I get up
love
at 6:15 every morning. If I have some editing I need to catch up on, I'll do it in the morning too. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it's like any task that's going to be like the main, drudge that you're getting to. You're like, all right, let me put this in the morning and just try to punch it as much as possible. That was me. I had to call like 5,000 images today.
oh
I was like,
God.
yeah, that's weddings.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that wedding life right there. People are so crazy. Like we, I think in 2019 or 2020, we hit like our millionth photo we had ever
Oh
shot
my
for the business.
gosh.
Uh, and I'm like, I was both happy and sad that I had called a million images. I was like, ew. Like I wasted how much time on my life?
Uh-huh.
Like people always, it's kind of a fun stat. You're like, oh, how many weddings? How many images did you call?
Hmm.
How many delivered? All this stuff. Like for boudoir photographers, I want to see like a Spotify year in review where it's like this many couples, this many, honestly, like this many nipples or something, this many elbows or this many pieces of lingerie, this many thirst traps or this many Tinder profile photos. Like it's
Yes.
like a fun like year in review kind of thing because just to like celebrate with everybody. That's awesome. How long have you been doing the OnlyFans thing?
It was, I think I want to say it was September
Okay, so
of
less than a
this
year.
past year. Is when I finally, okay, so everybody kept saying, oh, do you have a top 10 posing guide? Do you
Yeah.
have a this? Do you have a that? That was another thing. I couldn't figure out how to do a damn posing guide, how to sell it, how to even like
Yep.
put it
Yep.
together. And it was another thing of like, how can I get information out to people
Yeah. Easily.
in a way that isn't, I'm just doing all of this work for free? Because I had a lot of this stuff already set up because been a goal of mine to get
Mm,
information out there for other photographers that didn't want to sign up for my one-on-one mentoring.
yeah.
So I already had this screen recordings. I already had all of these tutorials set up and ideas. I just had to like finally put it into place. So that's when the OnlyFans, I put things up like that. Like my favorite booty photos from my last session. I just put up
Mm,
recent nudes, you know what I mean? And so I did like a whole post of
I love
just
it.
some of the recent nude ones because also, people want just anonymous shots.
Yeah.
Like
Totally. Yeah.
how
They don't
if
want to
I have
share
a lot
their.
of teachers, I have a lot of this, like
Yeah.
I get stuck on taking and posting anonymous images. So I'll do like a whole folder of just anonymous images and things like
Mm,
that. So I do have an assistant that is here during session. So she'll be able to answer emails and things like that while I'm shooting. And if the client is comfortable, she'll get some behind the scenes that you
mm,
see me share in my Instagram stories. But the longer clips of me posing and interacting with my client, I share in my OnlyFans. And then
okay.
what I like about it is I can go back to the video portion of my post and add photos that correspond with those videos. So when you
Mm,
go into OnlyFans, if you see a video or you see a photo, there might be more than one. So just click the arrow over to the right and you may see like a bunch of photos and videos that pertain to like that one client. So that's why I like it too. It's super user friendly. And just like any Facebook group, the only thing it's not like super organized. So if how in Facebook groups, you can use the search bar and go
yeah.
to Tushy Tuesday and you would find all the posts that I did for Tushy Tuesday. They just don't have that searchability
Yeah.
factor in there yet. So you do, if you want to go down to like the first thing that I ever did, you just would have to scroll, scroll,
Just
scroll.
scroll and
So
roll. Yeah.
yep, you gotta stalk me.
Yeah. How one curious question I have, and honestly, at least for me, I've been following you for a long time. I don't even feel like you push this enough. But I'm sure, like all of us, it feels annoying to share the same thing. But like, I think you could push it even more. Two things. One, I think you should like make a fun branding thing about behind the scenes and the pun of
Oh,
that you have there.
cute.
That's just me being a dork. And then my second thing with OnlyFans is like, how is it going well for you? Like, do you feel like it's being successful? Is it growing? Like, do you want to build it to grow even more? Like, do you just want to do education or like change up how often you're shooting with how much you're sharing?
I didn't really have a goal going into it. I was like, oh, if someone subscribes, like, cool, like that's exciting.
Yeah, one person is enough.
So within the last like couple months, I've been averaging anywhere from 90 to 98 subscribers at a time. I think I have like 90
Wow.
right now, which I think is pretty good. I don't know what other people are
Sounds
doing. I
good to
don't pay
me.
attention to that. And I don't do comparisons and numbers of other people other than myself. So for me, just to have anybody watching and enjoying and giving me positive feedback about my information, like, yay, that's a win for me. So I don't have any crazy number goals. And again, it's not about the money or anything like that. It's just a place for me to share my information that I feel like other people would find valuable. So I feel like 90 for me is like pretty cool or
I think that's
98 or whatever
amazing.
it is. Yeah. And so to know that many people were either interested for that 1 month or have continued on with their subscription. There was a lot of photographers that have followed me that signed up for the 6 months at a time because they know the content that I'm going to put out is not going to be something where they feel like they got taken advantage of.
Yeah.
So that was important to me too, is to make sure that the content that I was putting out there, people would receive really well and find valuable, whether they were a photographer or not. You can go in there and just enjoy my work or enjoy me as a person or just enjoy looking at photos and videos of me working. Like, yes, you can get that for free on Instagram, but I think that people that really value you or even just want to support you. I have one of my makeup artists in there. She's like, I don't care what you put in there. I just want to support you. Like, thanks, girl. You know what I mean? You just have people and clients like that in your life. So that's really nice too. So it's not silly or, you shouldn't feel bad or whatever for having like different streams of income like that. I think it's really important. And especially like this is literally my husband's last week of work. He's retiring. And what I think is cool is that, he doesn't have to go back to work after retiring, from the military. I can support us just fine. And since he's like dedicated 20 plus of his years for the military, he can finally start doing things that he loves and that he wants to do and not feeling like he has to be pushed back out into the workforce, because I didn't have to do that for 10 years or plus years while I was raising my kid and being a stay-at-home mom. Now the roles are reversed. Like, I'll work, I'm doing what I love and I know that it's amazing. So like, I want you to go do that too.
Right.
So
no, totally.
Yeah. So I think that, any way that I can help financially to my family was always like my number one goal. And I feel like a lot of people can, feel that way. You want to feel like you're contributing something, whether it's emotional or, monetary or something to your family. That was just always my number one goal. And I've never felt weird around money or accepting money or asking for money in my business, because I know that what I do is important and valuable to people. And I know the way that I invest back into my business, is something that people will find valuable, whether they're a photographer or whether they're my client. So
that's awesome. That's like the goal right there. I mean, there's a mindset, and maybe this is my fault, or maybe this is only perpetuated around dudes, but like I've slowly it's basically erased in my mind the idea. Like, I think Tayana was the first person I even talked to who was like, it's possible to make 6 figures doing Boudoir. And I was like, what? I was so surprised, but especially now knowing how you two just demolish the schedule and shoot, 52 weeks times 3, 150 people a year. And let's just say that like 10% of them buy products. Like that is insane.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really cool. And then now, you can be the bread mama if you want, the breadwinner, bread mama.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. What is, two things. What's one of your goals as a boudoir photographer, business person? Like, is there anything you're looking forward to? Like it seems like you are crushing it. So like, what are you looking forward to?
Um, I don't
Like,
know
what does Karla
because,
want?
well, I feel like all of my little goals and things like that, I am meeting or like currently meeting. I
Yeah.
always wanted to have like a nice full schedule. It
Yeah.
never feels like work to me. It is a lot of work, but I always like my main thing is to just be able to make people happy and make people feel good and also maintain my work-life balance, which I think I'm doing
Yeah.
pretty well right now, even though I'm like the busiest I've ever been. But making time to do things that I want to do, even if it's like personal or business related. I'm also like hosting a workshop with my friend Matt, who is a boudoir photographer in Alabama and doing really well. He's bringing back like his workshops, and I don't necessarily want to do workshops like hosted by me because that's a lot of work. Like I ain't trying to do that, but I don't mind going to be like the guest speaker and things like that, and to meet other people in the boudoir community like in person and being able to shoot and do things together. So being invited to do things like that. And just keeping my full schedule and making like I'm turning 40 on Sunday. Okay.
What?
You know what I planned? Absolutely nothing. I worked the Friday before my birthday and the Monday after my birthday. My mom and my sister are like, where do we? I'm like, I don't know. I didn't even think about my own self.
That happens to all of us.
But it's fine. Like I'm not like a big like party person like I used to be. I mean, don't talk to people I went to college with, but I just want to be, present enough in my own life and strong enough in my own life that I can also help and carry those clients that come to me because, it's not just about like taking their photos and, being nice to them when they're here. A lot of times, like you're a therapist to these ladies and you have to like, really be that one person in their day or their week or their month or their whole year that makes them feel like somebody. And that's a huge, not burden in a bad way, but it's a big weight to carry. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that I am the best that I can be for my clients. So I make time for myself, not for my 40th birthday, but I do make time for myself and for my friends around me and things like that. Because I don't necessarily have huge goals because that like stresses me out, feeling pressured to do something in my business. I just want to maintain and make sure like the way that my business is running is like a well-oiled machine. So nothing really major that I'm like looking forward to or anything. I'm just trying to keep everything kosher.
Keep everything afloat. Yeah.
Yes. I'm just trying not to like teeter totter over the edge or anything like that. So
I love that. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with that. And I know that feeling. Like this was the year making up for last year, right? And, moving all kinds of ish. And I shot a wedding on my birthday this year. And so I was like, and I never told the couple until I was about to leave. Like I didn't want them to feel bad by any means. Cause I was like, I said yes to the new date. But I was like, this is what I got to do this one year. And after, the pandemic and all that jazz, and we're still in it, all that stuff. But I was like, this is what I got to do.
Yeah.
And I still like what I'm doing. It's better than anything else. So I'd rather, if I got to shoot a wedding on my birthday every once in a while, it is what it is. So
amen. Yeah. That's the biggest thing is like my birthday's on a Sunday and I don't work on Sundays anyway. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll figure out something to do.
That's the one. That's your one holy day.
Yeah, it is
of the year that Karla's holy. No, that's what I was gonna say. I think this is what should happen, Karla. I'm gonna put this on the podcast. No pressure. You don't have to do this, but I think for 41, I think you need to have a little get together, even if it's a photo get together. Like maybe the pandemic will be better. We could all go like I assume you like Mexican food, tacos, and like that,
Yes.
or, you know, and you just invite some homies, some crew. We'll finally get to meet in person
Yes.
after 4.5 years or however long I've known you. You know, other people, and we can just, it'll be low key because it'll be like work vibes. We don't have to like go ham for you. We could just be eating tacos and chatting. So that's what I'm going to put in your. I'm going to speak into your life for 41.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely love like all of the friends that I have online or, you know, like you, even though we're local, we're both busy. It's really hard to get together and make time for those, you know, people around you. Like I just flew out to a baby shower for a friend of mine. And although her and I have been talking all day, every day, it was only the second time we've ever met in person, you know? So it's like, I do have a lot of people around me, whether they're local or far away, but it's like, you don't always have to meet in person and things like that, but it's really fun. It doesn't always have to be business either. A lot of times you're like, no, I just want to meet you for coffee. Like, I don't want to take photos while we're there. Do you know what I mean? Like I want to put my
low pressure.
Like I want to put my phone down and like chit chat and hang out. And if we do talk business, cool. That's fun too. Cause you know, we could talk like all day, every day about it.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe like my little goal would just, and it was my goal this year and last year, is to start doing more personal traveling and work traveling, which I do have a little bit of that planned. But, you know, with COVID, it's like a hot mess. You're like,
yeah, who knows? Who knows? That's awesome. Well, cool. Karla, thank you so much for coming on. This is freaking awesome. I just want to talk to you all the time.
I know.
And I love like people being innovative about, you're the only boudoir photographer I know doing OnlyFans. And even Patreon. I don't know many boudoir photographers even like trying to sell in this way. And it's so cool. I'm inspired by you and your work. Like you work super hard. People think I work hard. Tay actually texted me yesterday and she was like, I heard you shot a triple. And I was like, yeah, I do that every once in a while. She's like, what's it like to have good knees? And I was like, I don't have great knees. They're sad about it, but you know, we made it work. But yeah, you inspire me. Where can people go to see all your wonderful work? And then is there an easy link for OnlyFans as well?
Yeah, I have Karla Mason Karla with a K, Karla Mason Photography on everything, basically, on Facebook, on Instagram, my website, OnlyFans. I have a direct link in the link in bio that I have in my Instagram. Will take you to mentoring, OnlyFans, you know, all that stuff.
I love it. Awesome. Karla, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Guys, thank you so much for checking out The Bearded Hog. It really means a lot. If you can, leave a like on the video. If you want to see more videos, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell for notifications on when new videos come out immediately. Have a wonderful day, guys, and keep being awesome.